All right, team, NRL fantasy is over for the year, but not quite. We are here for the JBFA, the Jamie Brown Fantasy Analysis Fantasy Footy Week 1. So make sure you do get your responses in. The link is in the description for this Microsoft form. This is where you pick your team on here, okay? So the link is in the description. Click that one there. It'll say forms, which will make it really easy to click and get into. But welcome, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. So just some rules there. I'm going to read it all out to you, and then I'm going to go through the team list here and give my predictions on how things are going to go heading into the finals here. I'm also running my NRL cricket analysis Instagram page and also TikTok. So if you want to jump in and check that out, I'll be doing some content on there throughout from here on. Basically, there's going to be some cricket on there. There's going to be some footy in here for finals as well. But let's go through how things work. Basically, it's one entry per person. Okay, I understand that people are going to try and cheat, but if you're caught having two teams by any stretch, or if you haven't got the correct name, email, anything like that, you're not going to win the prizes. Basically, it's as simple as that. Teams must be entered by 7:50 p.m. on Friday, the 13th of September, so you can't make any changes to your team post that game. And how it's going to work out is if you have someone that actually gets ruled out, then we do have an emergency player that comes in as well. And the scoring is going to be based off my new scoring system, which we'll go through below as well. But each week here, we'll be picking a new team. So this week, your picks are going to be for this week only. Super simple on that one. Just make sure you answer each question in full. And the prizes, guys, very, very simple. It's a free thing to play. I'm just going to offer a few things up for those who potentially join the private group. Anyone who's in the top 5 at the end of the 4 weeks is going to be a full scoring total across those 4 weeks there. If you're in that top 5, you win $10 off next year's private group package if you want to be a part of that. So just another cool thing to play. As I said, it's free. So if you don't think the prizes are good enough, that's okay. You don't have to play. It's fine, but just something fun and a bit competitive, and it'd be cool to get in the space there and get your mates involved and go up against them and see if you can beat your mates in this, just for bragging rights and obviously to get some cash off getting in the private group. And for those that are currently in the private group, if you make the top 5, you get $20 off instead of 10. Just a little bit of an extra incentive. But the new game scoring, I spoke about it a little bit in one of the previous videos this week, but running meters stay the same. Offload to hand is 3, offload to ground 1. So I've just changed that a little bit there. Tackle bust the same. If you escape from in goal, you do pick up an extra point there. You get 3. Kick defusal is the same, but try scoring goes up to 12, so somewhere in between fantasy and Supercoach, I think is nice and fair. Assist is up to 8, a line break's up to 6, and a line break assist is up to 4. So just a little bit up on each of those. I just think it's a little bit more fair. Kicking, you get an extra point for forced dropout, which is good. 40-20 again, extra couple of points in there. Kick measures the same, tackle's the same. Turnover tackle goes down 1, same with try saver. Intercept, you get 3 as well, which we don't have. We have it as sometimes a turnover tackle, sometimes not in fantasy, but they have intercepts in Supercoach, so we'll go through that. A missed tackle is down to a -1. Penalties are -2. Same with there, our sim is -5, and send off is -10. So the big one in this, guys, is rewarding people that get involved and rack up stats. So if you're going to score tries, you're going to set yourself up that way. If you're going to do good things, getting forced dropouts, getting out of in goal, those cool things. Intercepts are fun. And obviously missed tackles are going to be part of the game. So it does, you're going to get rewarded for scoring lots of tries and assisting and all that kind of stuff. But if you make 50 tackles and miss 7, you're only losing 7 points. So you can still rack up big numbers if you're a big tackle guy. And the running meters are going to be fun as well. So yeah, good stuff across the board on that one. I hope it plays out well. I'm going to be doing those stats myself after each game, and then I'll get them sorted and uploaded, and you'll be able to see each of those players and how they've gone. And then we'll have a form there where it just is read only that you guys can have a look at and see how things are progressing across the weekend. Just make sure to keep an idea of who you personally picked, which is an easy thing there. And if you do forget, you can look back to that form that I'll post on the channel on a daily or week or every second day basis across that weekend. So all these guys, put your full name in, put your full address in, pick one hooker. So between Watson, Grant, Robson, Marnie, and Jaden Bradley, pick one of them. You can only pick one. Nice and simple. One gun mid. So you've got a bunch of options there. We're picking 2 different edges, but 2 different questions there just to make it easier on my end. One gun and then one decent sort of mid-range type of guy. One gun half, one mid-range half. One gun center, and then 2 gun fullback. So I've put it in separate questions just to make it kind of tough there. Ponga, Tedesco, or Turbo. Which one will you pick? And then Edwards, Drinking, and Pat, just to make it a little bit closer in terms of scoring there. And unfortunately, I decided, I just wanted to avoid Isaiah altogether because he is by far and away the standout gun mid in this week. So yeah, just had to leave him out and get a little bit closer with some of these guys who can all have big weeks. And then to finish it off, guys, picking one emergency player. This is in case someone is ruled out in any position. One of Max King, Trent Liero, Brian To'o, and Lindsay Collins. Okay, so select one of them. You have to select something in every single question for it to submit. Hit submit. That'll be in on my side and you're good to go. So it'll only take you a couple of minutes. Really simple. And you just have a lot of fun. You obviously watch the finals for the good footy that's on offer. And then you can have a little bit of a side piece here with finals fantasies. It's going to be a good amount of fun. I'll be in there as well. And I'll put everyone's names will be up there. I'll hide the email addresses. It'll just be names when I show that on the form and send out to all you guys for access and to be able to view that. So that's going to be really fun. I look forward to that. And as I said, the link is in the description to play. Get in there. I said free to play, have some fun, couple of minutes a week. Super duper easy there. Alrighty, it's finals time. So my thoughts on all of these games. So Panthers up against the Roosters, and this does make it a little bit more difficult for the Roosters given they've got Walker out and they've got Brandon Smith. Obviously, they're two big ones. And their forwards have taken a little bit of a hit, obviously, with Hargraves out as well. So they're the big worries for the Roosters at this point, with Sam Walker being a very big key along with Hargraves, especially in finals games. Walker has that spark to be able to lift them to win games, and Hargraves has Hargraves mentality, basically. He's absolutely incredible, and they do need him to match up with Leota and Fisher Harris, who just come to the party in finals time. And that's going to be the big clash there, is we know what Collins can do, but how is Spencer Leniu going to handle the heights of a finals game? We know that for the Blues, he was absolutely incredible, but we haven't seen it too much in Roosters games. So can he do it in this finals game? Nat Butcher's a really big in for him at 13. We're missing a bit of that. Bit of that starch through the middle, and he can offer that especially. But they've still obviously got plenty of weapons. They got Terrell May off the bench. Wong can do good things off the bench as well in an attacking sense. But in their forwards, Connor Watson really crafty around the ruck. We've seen Tupinor come into a bit of form in recent history, and Angus Crichton's an absolute gun. And then they've obviously got Teddy, Suali'i, Manu, Dom Young, and then being guided around by Luke Keary and Sanders Smith, really, really solid. So Tedesco at the back is going to have to do plenty for this side. He's been in ripper form, and all of them are going to have to play really, really good, because I do think they're going to find it hard to get a win over Panthers here, unfortunately. Just at home and with a couple of those extra key cogs out, with Panthers having Cleary returning, it's such a massive in for them, and they do have the majority of their team playing at the pointy end of the season, which is awesome. So Taruva's back on the wing with To'o, Isaac Tungo, and Alamotti, where Alamotti spent a lot of this year, obviously, in that spot, which has been helpful for him. Edwards is back fit, not looking his best, but improving each and every week, and the forward pack is absolutely stellar. It's the forward pack that they've gone into previous finals with, and they've spent the majority of their year building to get to this point of fitness to do really well. So I do find it hard for the Roosters to be winning this one away from home with a few guys out. So I am going to say that the Panthers will win this by 8, and I think it's going to be 24-16 to the Panthers on this one. But a really nice, tight contest, but Panthers kind of being ahead for the majority of it. A little bit back and forth with the Panthers taking this one by 8 points there. Moving on to the Storm and the Sharkies clash. For the Storm, guys, they're just playing too good at the moment. I do expect them to win this game by a couple of tries as well. Probably 10-12 in this one would be my range for the Storm against the Sharks. The Sharks have had a bunch of good games in there, but Storm, their consistency, and the note that Sharkies have gone in back-to-back years, they've struck out in back-to-back weeks in finals footy, just puts a little bit of a stressor in their mind coming into this game. We know that the Storm have been in so many of these big games, and they have the majority of their guys back and fully fit, with Hughes and Munster being able to spend a bunch of time together now this year. Pappenhausen is back, and he's just such an X factor, with Harry Grant back playing some of probably his best footy of the year in his last couple of weeks. He's had a bit of a quiet, tough one, and he's been much better. Eli Katoa's looking back in better form, and you've got Trent Liero playing good footy there as well, with Nelson Asafa Solomona back into some decent form as well. So the team is humming at the moment. They're outside backs. They've got Xavier Coates back. He looked awesome in his small stint on the weekend. So I do find it very, very difficult for the Sharks to finish well and get the win here against this Storm team, which is absolutely humming at the moment and has hardly lost a game all season. So that's the thoughts on the Storm. I think they'll be just too good for the Sharks, with too much firepower in their spine, but also just their well-rounded team play right now. With the Sharkies, they've got plenty of good games in them. They've got plenty of game breakers, especially in the outside backs, and then obviously guys like Britton Nickra in their forward pack. They do lack a little bit in that forward pack compared to the Storm. We've seen that in recent years. Their forward pack just not up to scratch. Hines is only coming back into his third game and not at his anywhere near tip-top shape at the moment. So I do think that will hold the Sharkies back. If he was humming right now, I'd put a little bit more of a chance on the Sharkies, but I do think just for that reason alone, a little bit of a lack in the forward pack overall, and their hooker is obviously a little bit under that of Harry Grant. They've got Trindle, who's much less than Munster, and Kennedy, same deal with Pappenhausen. I just think they're a little bit undermanned for what the Storm can offer, and we haven't really said too much about Sharks winning the comp, and Storm have been all over it all season, so I'm expecting a win from the Storm in that second clash of the week. For the Cowboys up against the Knights, this is going to be a fun game to watch, with Kalen Ponga absolutely strutting his stuff on the weekend. He is the X factor along with Bradman Best, in my opinion, for this game. If both Ponga and Best can be at their best, I think that the Knights can win this one. And if they don't play up to scratch, it will take a bit of a shocker from the Cowboys, I think, for the Knights to get up and win this one. If the Cowboys play anything like what they did against the Dogs on the weekend, they will be too good and they have too much firepower for this Knights side, which has a bunch of good players, but unfortunately Cogger and Crossland at 6 and 7 probably isn't the answer. But we'll have to see. I do think it's going to be, a lot of it's going to rest on Ponga's shoulders and how well guys like Frizzell, Lucas and Elliott can play in that back row there. Daniel Saifides really stepped up along with Leo Thompson in recent history. Barney obviously come up against McLean and Tamalolo, along with Lukey gaining form. You've got 6 Origin guys on this side, Nanai, Cotter in that back row and the middle there that can do great things. And you've got a Queensland number 6 in Dearden. Clifford's playing decent footy as well. And to have strike weapons like Drinkwater, Felt, Holmes, Murray Talangi, especially in that back line, they should be too much. But we know that Cowboys have a big issue with defence and their inability to be consistent throughout a season. So this game could go either way, but I do expect the Cowboys to get the win in this one by about 8 points as well. I'm tipping them to not be too close across these games. It just depends on which team turns up for this Cowboys side. Do the Knights players in Ponga and Best absolutely brain it when they come out and play this one. Moving to the last game here, you got the Dogs up against the Seagulls. Super excited for this one. I think this will be the closest game of the week outside of the Panthers and the Roosters game, but I'm just not sure which way this one will go. I'm personally going to tip the Dogs in here, the home team, and we're expecting a bounce back is what I'm getting at here. We do have a bit of noise with that O'Carr, unfortunately, so that I think hurts them a bit, obviously. Jarrell Skelton, we know, is an absolute jet of a player, but he hasn't got the love of the game, the smiles, the big nature that Addo-Carr brings to this side. That happy-go-lucky, let's get into it, let's have some fun nature as yet. He's just such a young guy and that big game experience that Addo-Carr has. So that's going to hurt them. But the return of Matt Burton's going to be massive. They've got big game experience in Reid Marnie, in Kickow, and yesterday of Stephen Crichton. Obviously, I was like, there's one more in here. Who am I looking at and missing? But those guys can come out and do great things. You've got Burton and Crichton, winning a bunch of prems, and Kickow as well. So that's going to be very, very helpful for them in a finals game. And they've got a lot of steady hands in Connor Tracy, Carraz. You've got Toby Sexton, Max King, Preston, Jamin Salmon, all these type of guys that will at least stay in the moment and not get overawed by it. So I'm going to tip them just, but the Eagles, if they come out of the blocks too hot and their attack is too good, I think that they're going to be too good for this Dog side. If Dogs play their best, they can. I think they win by 2 in that case. But if the Eagles are a little bit off, I think the Dogs can put a few points on them, and it could blow out to an 8-10. And I think Eagles could win by sort of that 10 margin. Again, if the Dogs play anything like last week, and the Eagles have good attack in them, like we know that they can with Turbo, with Garrick, with Kohler, with Brooks, with DCE, with Olakau'atu, they can be absolutely electric. But we know that, looking at last week, for example, without Turbo, they got 40 put on them. So that's where Dogs are just a better team defensively. And I'm going to tip them by 2 in this one. And it's going to be 20-18 in this game, in my opinion. But I do think the Eagles are probably the upset of the week. And if Roosters were to do it as well, I think that would be massive. But Eagles are a good chance for sure. They have massive game players in Turbo, in DCE, and Gerbo. Obviously, the 3 guys to really focus on in that team. And DCE hasn't been his best in recent history. So if he can come out and play pretty well, Turbo can do his thing. I think that they can obviously get the win here, but it's going to be up to the Dogs, and if they can get back to some of that good form that they've been showing for months and months now. So there you go, guys. That's the FFS, the finals fantasy there. And then we've got the my 4 picks and reasoning why in here as well. So I'll get in and go through a little bit of an example of what I think will be the best picks in the forms, and sort of give my reasons for each guy. Just do a quick buy, hold, sell, but just buys. Which one do we pick basically on the channel, just to keep things rolling and keep the fantasy train rolling. We'll just do one of those a week, and obviously won't be telling you who I'm picking, but we'll just give my thoughts on all the players that are available in the game. So that'll be fun. And we'll see you all on the other side. Have a good one, guys. I got my review to come out this week too.